Ampire. Hey, babies, hey, babies, hey, babies, hey, babies, hey, babies, hey, babies, babies. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday, everybody. What's up, Callow? How are you today?
What's going on? I'm good. You're probably more pumped this week than anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes. I get what is like my professional life back. It's nice. It's nice.
Well, I was going to say, too, you also got off the Spirit Games here for a couple of weeks, too, and now you jump back into training camp. So it's like one thing into the other.
That worked out well. Because I have a feeling next season, assuming everything is, we'll have to navigate all of that. I don't want to be presumptuous, Spirit. I think you like working with me. I think you like working with us. I don't want to be presumptuous about this, but next year there will be no Olympic break. So we'll have to see how it goes.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm pumped. Obviously, we got a press conference tomorrow, and then they don't practice until Wednesday. So that's when we get our first glimpses. They're going to practice really early in the morning, which I think is all about essentially what? That they want to stay away from the heat, I guess. Like that's what we're doing here. Just stay out of the heat.
I mean, it's record highs. So, I mean, we've stepped out in how hot it is. And I'm training for a marathon in all of this weather. And I totally get why they're moving it up. And in fact, I'm actually shocked they didn't try to push that sucker to like 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. But I know you can only get so many people in the building for so often.
Yeah. So I'm pumped. Here we go, Jim. Let's get going here. I know everybody wants to know, what does Jaden Daniels look like? You actually get to see it now. It's the first time, like it's not just, Keim's Twitter videos of 10 seconds long that you're going to be able to see it. For those who come out to training camp, they'll actually get to witness it. We're not far away from a preseason game. So with training camp opening this week and with you off the rest of this week, why don't we have our let's talk about what they should be talking about and talking to us about what we want to see as camp begins, because when we do this again together, you'll be back next week and we'll have had a full week of whatever happened out in Ashburn. So here's question number one, because press conference comes tomorrow. Adam Peters, Dan Quinn will be there, and I guarantee they're going to ask this question, and it is, when are they going to name Jaden Daniels the starter of the team? When? Because I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. I don't think they're going to say it. I don't think they're going to come out, but I think we all know that if he's not starting against Tampa, that's going to be a surprise, I think.
I would agree 100%. I'm going to go after preseason game number 2 because he won't play in the third one. And that just sounds about right. I think he's going to start both preseason games.
That's an interesting question, number one, for Quinn and Kingsbury. Or do you intend to play him in the preseason games? Because right. I would think they're going to, but a lot of teams don't play their starters. And they do have these joint practices with the Jets and the Dolphins leading into the first 2 preseason games. Maybe they don't feel like they have to.
I mean, if he's impressive enough, I guess in those joint practices, I could see it. But you do want to get him in uniform. You do want to get him practicing with whatever the combination of the O-line is going to be. I mean, I think it's just as important as him getting some snaps. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still going week 2, though. I don't think they're going to do this thing early. I mean, the funniest one was the Bears naming Caleb Williams the starter like the first day of rookie camp.
Yeah, but I mean, like, go look at their roster. There is no viable, like, starting quarterback backup. Sure. I mean, like, I don't expect Marcus Mariota to be the starter, but at least he's like a viable player who has started a number of years. So it's like, at least it's a somewhat open question. I think more like, you don't know what you don't know. And with Williams, like, they basically threw the baby out with the bathwater with Fields. And they're like, we're going this way. We're going this way. And there was no chance after the draft they could go, we're slow rolling any of this. Like, there was no chance they could do that. The Commanders are in a different spot. Like, their coaches are new. The front office is new. They could. I don't think it's realistic. And after what happened during camp and everything that everyone is like quietly and not so quietly saying about him, I'll be shocked if he's not starting week one. Short of an injury, I would be shocked if he's not starting week 1. But I'm waiting to see, when are they going to say it? And
sure,
you might be right. Like, maybe they'll wait till after preseason game 2. I still think it's possible that they're going to say he's either going to play very little or not at all in the preseason
Oh yeah,
games. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
So I don't know what to expect. So we'll see.
I do go back to that interview. I think it was with Keyshawn, right, where he even had said, "I'm having conversations with the team, but they say they're not going to make me the starter until I'm actually ready to go."
Yeah.
Now, for all intents and purposes, he's looked pretty good and ready to go in the little that we've seen from him. And I know they're not going to hand him the job, but I mean, I think they're going to have his best interest and the team's best interest in hand here. But everything we have heard, and like I say to you, like every week at this point, unprompted, everyone brings up how hard the guy works. I would be shocked if he's not the starter, but it's going to be a matter of
Yeah.
when, not if.
And I'll be interested to see how they deal with it tomorrow. Like when they have the
Sure.
question put in front of them, how do they couch it? Because I don't expect them to say he's the starter because they haven't done it yet. And I don't see any reason to do it. But I will see how they couch this. Do they call this literally an open competition? Do they phrase it like he's leading the way? Do they put it like we want him to be the starter week one? Like, I don't know. You know, like I'll be very interested to see how they couch this tomorrow.
They could also put it as he's the number one right now, but it's still a competition with Mariota. I mean, I could see that be absolutely being the case. He's got to stave off the veteran. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if they would actually go that route.
No, and I'm excited because I'm sick of people asking me what he looks like, so everybody gets to see him now. Like I'm like, I don't know what to say. He's been in shorts and a t-shirt. He looks great. Everything sounds great. Everybody's talking all these great things about him behind the scenes, but until we see him play, we don't know. And so I'm excited for that to happen. All right. Issue number 2. Are they still looking for a left tackle? Like, I think we all know they need one. Are they literally looking for one? And what are they waiting for? Like, do they want one of the players who still hasn't signed with a team yet? Like DJ Humphries or Bakhtiari or someone like that? Are they waiting for a cut? Are they going to say they're happy with what they have? Like, I think that's going to be a very interesting question they need to answer. Are you okay with what you have? Because I think that's going to come up again tomorrow. Now that we're here, I think it's going to come up again. Like, we all think, you know, wink, wink, you need another left tackle in here, if for no other reason to compete. Do you think you do? And if you do, how do you plan on addressing it over the next few weeks?
Sure. I mean, I already know Adam Peters is going to drop the, well, we're always reevaluating every position. Like that, we already know how Aura is going to answer that question. I don't think the next left, when I say next left tackle, the next left tackle to get on the roster, I'm not going to call him the starter, but the next one isn't on this roster.
I
It's
agree.
on another roster.
Unless it's the third round pick, unless it's him,
right?
Which I doubt is immediate, but that'd be incredible if it was. But maybe, you know, like, but that's all maybe. And I think the guy for this year, I don't know that he's here right now, but they haven't done anything about it. So I want to hear how they answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, my thought, and that's what I meant by next. Like, they might have their starter, but they still need to add one more just to have on the roster, I think. And so we'll see who that is. That person, I don't think is on their roster. I think he's on another roster.
Yeah, I do too. The question is, are they waiting for a cut? Would they trade for somebody? This is very unusual timing now to do something, especially at that position, to do something like that now. But does a team have a rookie that's moving up very quickly here, or a young player that's moving up very quickly here and want to make a move now because they don't want to log jam and they want to get value for somebody? Like, I don't know. So I want to see what they do. I think they're going to say, we really like Cornelius Lucas, Trent Scott, and this rookie. I think is what they're going to say. And they'll just keep saying that until another option emerges. This is a little bit like Biden said he was going to run until he isn't going to run, you know, anymore. It's like one of those, we know you have to do something. It's when are you going to do it? So correct. I will be surprised if in the end, it's basically Lucas versus Scott. Somebody's the left tackle and there's nobody else here. Like whether it's a cut, whether it's a trade, whether it's something, I think they have to address this still. But I'm semi-surprised they haven't done it yet to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the options are that great. Like the Bakhtiari one is the one everyone throws out there, and he hasn't played that much in the last 3 years, and he's going to cost them a little bit, or he wants more money. I
Probably
think, what the issue is, and I think Peters is looking at this going, once again, this guy she falls in line with this my same process of how this wide receiver room looks with Terry and Jahan and then everyone below it, but how the offense as a whole really does get a mulligan off last year. We don't know how bad or how good some of these guys can be
I
because
agree.
I think last year was such a mess, and it was more of a mess than we even thought. Like they kept it under wraps, clearly. And maybe even Adam Peters is going, you know what? Let's see what Lucas and et cetera, everyone else has, because we don't know how they're going to accelerate or not do well under this Cliff Kingsbury scheme. And I think it's a valid argument, too, if you're Peters, to go, let's see what these guys have. Let's have everyone come in here as a fresh slate, because let's be honest here, too. Peters got rid of everyone that he wanted to, right? I mean, I think it's actually a huge testament to some of the guys that stuck around, after half the roster was flipped over. So, I mean, I think he's also going to say, let's see what we've got here. Bieniemy's gone. Let's see what you're doing now.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. All right. Next big topic. Will you add a high profile wide receiver? Like they're going to get asked. Of course they're going to get asked because Ayuk keeps posting things, saying things, reportedly doing things, posting clips of our practice footage. How are they not going to get asked about this? So I'll be interested. That one's for Peters, not for Quinn. That one's for Peters.
Sure.
How does he answer a question like that? Because it's not just like, hey, are you interested in the guy you drafted a few years ago who has a contractual situation with your ex team? It's, what we know that this guy's best friends with the quarterback and they keep going on TikTok together. So what are you going to do about it? So I want to see how they answer that question.
No, and I mean, look, it came out. I think it was Pro Football Talk or someone else had the report on Sunday where the Commanders said they were willing to pay the contract, but that they weren't willing to give up what the Niners wanted in return. And I think they said someone had offered, not the Commanders, but someone had offered as high of a second round pick. I think it was the Patriots that dangled that in front of them.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, they clearly will pay Ayuk if they were to get him, but I think they're going, we have a ton of holes on this roster. Wide receiver isn't a need. Yes, he's a top 10 wide receiver, but I think once again, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, they are being given the runway here to figure this roster out, and wide receiver isn't exactly one that you're going to go out and get right now.
I got to tell you, like, if they turn down a high 2 from New England, that probably is a mistake because unless they're going to sign him, if they're not going to sign him, they're going to regret that next year because his number only goes up because they have to franchise him. I mean, the only value left is right now is that he's making this, which means, yes, you'll give him an extension, but you can work within the context of this salary right now with him to give him the money that he wants and either put it on your cap now or put it on your cap later, whatever works for you. And that gets you the value back. Once his number hits the number it should be, which is in the high 20s to 30, well, now nobody has any flexibility to do anything with him, and you're not going to get a first round pick. So I think the 49ers have misjudged what he's worth. Like this is like somewhat like the Sweat thing last fall. They traded him for a high second round, or ended up being a high second round. They thought would be a high second round pick because they thought that that's the maximum value they could get. If he gets around to his contract coming, well, you've got to franchise him because you can't just let him walk. Well, now he's making top 5 defensive end money. And guess what? Nobody's even giving you that. They're basically taking the contract off your hands. So I think the 49ers have misplayed this a little bit. And considering how badly he either wants to get exactly what he wants or he's willing to embarrass them and talk about leaving all the time, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this one's going to play out. Like, the Debo one got a little ugly, but it was never like, I plan on playing with my friend wherever. That's not what this has been. So I want to see how they talk about this and how they pose this.
I just think I don't think the 49ers have misjudged this. I want to say that. I think the 49ers know that if they want to win a Super Bowl, they need him on the team. I think that's where I think this all lies. And I think that's kind of like the tough spot that they're in right now and why everyone is not really railing on them or siding with Ayuk either way. I think everyone just realizes he's so important to that team right now at this moment. And of course he's trying to leverage it. I think the other part of this, though, that still probably irks me the most about the whole situation, whether it's Washington trading for him or not, though, is he's going to get paid on the other side. Why would you not just want to play this out? The Niners didn't say this, but the reports have been they will pay him and trade Debo if it all works out, essentially. And I think that's what frustrates me with dealing with the actual player in Ayuk is, dude, you're going to get paid on the other side. You're a top 10 wide receiver. Why are you so hot and heavy to leave right now,
Yeah.
especially when your team could win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That's what irks me, I think, the most.
I
Or
think
I
I
just
think
don't
it's
really
just
know what
he's
he's thinking.
making so much less than market value. That's what it is. Like if he was franchised like T. Higgins, I don't even know where he'd be coming from. But
Sure,
because he's
sure.
making so much less, he's pissed. And I don't blame him, but it's gone too far. And I just want to see how they deal with this because I think honestly Adam Peters needs to forcefully shut it down.
Yeah.
Because like this guy has proven that he will continue to call his friend and release the tape. So like we need our GM to go, we like
Release
him.
the
I
tape.
drafted him. I know who he is, but we're not trading for him right now. I think they need to
Right.
shut this one down personally. So
No, I agree. And with Ayuk too, I mean, I don't know where it ends with him, but he's gonna have to play, if he wants to get moved next year. Like, how hard are you gonna actually try to get this done? And especially, what if Peters comes out, tomorrow and says, "Hey, I did try to trade for him. There were no discussions that happened after the draft, and that's that." I mean, that could be it too. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually just did, address it like that.
yeah, I agree. All right, next one. And this one's for Dan Quinn. Describe the cornerback competition. How would you describe that? Because I got a lot of adjectives for it. I call it free for all, Wild West. I don't know what I don't know would be maybe one of them. But I want to hear what do he and Witt say about this now with the group that they have? Because I don't think necessarily it's definitively a weak group. It might be stronger than people think. We'll see how it plays out. But I don't know who they trust and who's going to get on the field and who's going to see prominent playing time. So describe that for me.
I think I have a pretty good way to describe this one. I'm calling it the WWE Royal Rumble. We know there's going to be 4 to 5 entrants. We don't know in what order they're coming down the ramp. We know that there's going to be a countdown and then go, oh, that's the number 1, that's the number 2, that's the number 3. And then every single week, I think we're going to get a different combination of all of them. This to me is truly going to just be a unit. I don't know who's going to emerge as number 1, who's going to emerge as 2. Like, I think Forbes and Sanders still are going to play similar roles. Honestly, when it's all said and done, I think they're both going to be slot type guys. But I
You think
think
Forbes
Sanders
going to be in
still
the
could
slot? I don't.
I mean, do you think he's going to be on the outside?
I
I'm
don't think
hesitant to
on
put him out there
somebody
in
as
this
large
situation.
as AJ Brown, but like on a normal sized human being, I think I probably would think of it differently. I think he's a better outside corner than he is inside
Okay.
corner. And I think Sanders still was drafted specifically to be the slot corner for this team. So I hope he's a day one starter for them. Forbes is one of the big question marks at camp, like huge. Like, let's see how he looks. Is this a mulligan year for him? Did he just have a really bad start? Like, I get it. He's thin, he's small. That's going to be a problem his whole career. Doesn't mean he can't excel. I also don't think he's going to be much in run support, but I don't think he can accept. I don't think it should limit him that much. Let's find out what it looks like in this new defense. And I don't know what I don't know about him. The other side is hard to predict at this point too. It might be Michael Davis. It might be St. Just. It might be Igbenogany. Yes, I've been practicing it. Maybe. I don't know. So this is like, I don't know that they're weak at this position. It doesn't look like a strength, but I don't know that they're weak at it yet. I know everyone seems to think that they are, and maybe they are, but I'm not sure. Like, I think they're weak at left tackle. We'll see. I think they need another edge rusher. We'll see. I think they need another receiver, maybe not of Ayuk's caliber, but I think they need another receiver in the receiving core. We'll see. Corner might be okay, and it might not. I'm willing to hear out that there's it's a possibility that the group they have is good enough, but we'll see. I don't know.
Well, it's also, with defenses, he's actually done this with just a unit, right? I mean, yes, Diggs emerged as being a ball hawk, right? But when Diggs went down, someone else stepped up, right? So, I mean, we've also seen that Witt has been able to kind of get the best out of his units too with guys you haven't heard of. And I think that's where the hope is here as well is, hey, if you can kind of clean up the rest of the defense, maybe that defensive line, those defensive tackles, step up a little bit more and he can kind of scheme around that. Maybe it makes everyone else a little bit better. That's what we've been hinging things on for years here now. But with Witt, though, like it seems Witt and Quinn game up their defenses, even though they don't have these top guys. Yes, they had Parsons. Yes, they had Diggs, but they were kind of just accentuating off of those two guys specifically and doing it with a bunch of, guys, essentially.
Yeah. Next question I got. Who's the leader? Who are the leaders? Like, I think McLaurin's one of them. It seems like Bobby Wagner's been installed as one of them. I have a feeling Jeremy Chin is ascending a little bit, but we'll see. But he's on a 1-year deal and it's a new team. We'll see. Is John still a de facto leader, captain of the team? Duran is a much quieter type player. I don't know that I don't know that he wants that. Like, I don't think he wants to be the vocal leader. I think he's an example person. Like, watch me do my thing. I don't see him as getting in the huddle and, who knows, maybe. But like, is John still that? Is that go to Wagner? McLaurin on offense? Do you expect your rookie quarterback to be that? Like, I think it's a real, and it's probably the most unfair question that I would ask at this point, because this is all new and everybody's new in the locker room, and to sit there and go, you're our captain or you're our guy at this point is a little unfair. But I'm just curious how Quinn and Peter see that through the spring. Who's emerged as the buy-in people that people are following in the locker room that they would point out and say early on, these are our leaders?
I'll start with Allen because I think he's probably one of the ones that we thought might have been a question mark heading into this offseason. But I think he's got this new energy now where he actually is going to step up as a leader. I think it was a little bit questionable last year, but at the same time, it was like everybody was having a bad year last year. I don't really blame him on, having the attitude that he did. So I think he's definitely the one on the defense. I'm with you too, though, on Wagner. I think Wagner just gets it as a de facto. And you know how this works. They vote on it, right? So who do the players actually like? It's probably going to be Allen and Wagner, maybe someone else. And then on offense, I think it's really interesting because McLaurin will get voted as one. And then is Jaden really commanding the room? Then we'll find out,
Yeah.
And if he's not, you're going to have some overreactions to that, I bet. But I don't put that much into it. And we've seen it too, though, where guys get the captaincy partway through the year, right? I mean, so that could also change as the year goes on. Because who got the captaincy in the middle of the season? Was it Chase Young that got it his rookie year? Like someone got it.
I don't remember. That's a good question.
Remember somebody got it in the middle. I can't remember who it is, but people have gotten it in the middle of the year too. And that's also kind of galvanized the locker room as well. I want to say, didn't Chase get it after the Boz piece or the Sverluga piece that he was a bust or something? I feel like I remember him getting the captain.
Boz wrote he didn't call him a bust, but he was kind of insinuating we expected more out of you. And he then killed the Bengals, and
right.
He hit Burrow. It wasn't the one that hurt Burrow, but he hit him, like crushed him like on the goal line on a play, and had a huge game. And then the second half of the season, it totally turned. I don't remember. Did they give him a cap? I can't remember that. Did they give him that? I don't know. I don't remember.
I feel like they did because I feel like someone got hurt and they gave it to him. Or I'm misremembering whoever that could be too. Like they would have done that with Haskins or something. Yeah. I don't remember, but they've done that before. That's what I'm getting at, though. He might not be the captain at the beginning of the year and then get voted on it.
Yeah.
Later on if someone gets banged up, or they just decide so. So
all right, last one, and I'm not this. I wouldn't ask this of Quinn because it's a silly answer, but I'll ask it rhetorically, which is, when are we going to actually see what the offense or the defense look like?
Week 1, Tampa.
I think so. I mean, I'm obviously going to get glimpses of it. We're all going to get glimpses of it. I don't think in the preseason games, but and not even really in the joint practices, because they work on very specific things with one another. They script out what they want to do with one another. You can learn a lot, but you script out what you're going to do. I think it is very possible because I've talked about this a lot through the summer. Having watched them in the spring, I really don't know what their offense or their defense looks like. I've gotten some hints of packages. I've gotten some ideas of how they want to try to utilize some people, but I don't think we know. And I'm hoping that that's a weapon for them early in the year, that people just don't know what they're going to be. And that should be an advantage. By week 4, everything shakes out and everybody knows what they know. And that's when things kind of settle down. It's why the first month of the NFL season is so crazy, because nobody knows what they don't know. But we should be unleashing a surprise on both sides of the ball on everybody that everyone has to adjust to, honestly.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's going to be your typical vanilla offense, vanilla defense in the preseason. Maybe you see a glimpse in training camp because you have to work on some stuff. But especially now, we were talking about this earlier this summer, how essentially these practices now are so dumbed down and blocking the media and the fans out of some of these practices too, that I don't think we're really going to see too much of it. And yeah, I'm going week 1 Tampa as when you're going to actually
Yeah.
see some of the scheming up of things.
Yep, I agree. So I'm pumped. Get a press conference tomorrow. Practice on Wednesday. My favorite part of the first practice is the players are like literally happy to see us. And that lasts about 2 days. And then they're not happy to see us anymore. But at least for 2 days, they're like, guys, we missed you. Oh, we're talking about exciting things. Yeah.
I have one question that you didn't have here that was very important that you didn't have one here yet. Tress Way has not been given a new number yet.
Well, he hasn't selected a new number yet.
I told you this, though. The day they did the number 5 movement to him, I ran through the numbers with you, remember? We did it on the air. And I said, there's nothing available. What are they going to do?
He's been wearing what, 10? I think he's been wearing 10, I think is what he was wearing.
I forget what it was, but it was, remember, it was specifically said it was a placeholder, though. It wasn't even that.
Tressway the third.
Right. So, yeah, TW3. Let's just
yeah,
call him
TW3.
But I'm just saying, we don't have a number for Tress yet. So
I mean, I like, 5 plus 5 is 10. I don't know. Like, that sounds, figure something out. I don't know.
Sure.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get that mystery on day 1 when he walks out on the field and someone yells, "Is that your number?"
Right.
Guess we'll know. So we'll find that out on Wednesday. All right. Be right back. Very much the show. ESPN 630 Sports Capital. All right, so let's go around the NFL a little bit here. A couple things are going on with the Raiders that I found really interesting. They are going to be practicing in Southern California, but by NFL rule, they are not allowed to literally market that they're going to be in Southern California because the Rams or the Chargers or both could basically say, we can't stop you from practicing somewhere. But if you're in our quote unquote market, you're not allowed to put up a billboard or talk about it or any of that. So that's a bizarre move. But I guess, I mean, Raiders fans would know. It's not like they wouldn't know. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But it is weird. It's weird that they're practicing there, but they're not allowed to literally say it out loud. Not allowed to say it.
If you remember, I was out there when the Super Bowl was in SoFi, and it was Bengals Rams. And I told you, I saw more Raiders gear than any other team out there.
Look,
they are the most popular team in the area. So
if we could do this, I mean, albeit, I think that Raiders look works in Vegas. Like, I think it works. But I think if we could just do this one over again. Well, one, I don't think the Chargers should ever left San Diego. But if they were going to, they should have gone to Vegas, and the Raiders should have gone to Los Angeles, where they have a massive built-in fan base there.
Not only that, I've said this before, the Chargers look in Vegas would have worked too. You could have tweaked that look to be kind of neon-y and been Vegas-like, and I think it actually really would have worked out. But what is marketing anymore, right? Like, all you need to say is...
You tell me.
Well, all they have to say is, we're practicing in Southern California. That's just news. That's not marketing. And now all the fans know where you're practicing.
That's right.
So, I mean, if I'm the NFL, I actually don't really know what marketing is anymore because you have to tell people where you're practicing. Your media is going to tell you where you're practicing. And then guess what? It's social media age now, man. You can just tell all these Raiders fan accounts, hey, spread the word. This is how you go to practice. Here's the website, all that stuff. So, I mean, they could say that, but you and I both know how marketing works now. And you don't really have to actually do marketing for something so big like the NFL.
Earlier, we were talking about Brandon Ayuk, and obviously he wants to leave San Francisco. Devontae Adams has done a lot of interviews lately, and I think he said the right things, which is, I'm here. He doesn't need to sugarcoat their quarterback situation. Is not great. Like, obviously, it's not ideal. They did try to trade up to get one of the rookies. It didn't work out. I'm sure they tried to talk to some others about some of the stuff we probably don't even know about, that they probably tried to acquire some players. It just didn't work out. So they got to get through the year. And then Adams at least was honest about, Rodgers, where he was like, I'm not trying to go to the Jets, but if I could go to the Jets, I wouldn't turn it down. I'd like to play with him, but I think he's handled this professionally. He's not lying, and he's not like, and he's also at the same time, he's not like saying he wouldn't do it. Like I hate when people say like what it should be an obvious thing. Like it's okay. Like you played well with Rodgers. You like playing with Rodgers. It's okay to say it. As long as I think you stay professional and say, but this team's paying me millions and millions of dollars and they traded for me and I want to be here. His latest one was he went on with Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp asked him, do you want to play with Tom Brady, who's going to be a minority owner of the Raiders? And he said, hell yes. Tom knows how I feel about him. And the other part is I think it'd be the first person that played with Tom and Aaron. So that would be cool. He's getting older, but he's still got to be able to throw it better than half these dudes in the league. That was his quote. So Davante wants Tom to get out of the owner's booth and be the Raiders quarterback. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, is that crazy? Is that crazy?
I mean, didn't they? He's not still an owner yet, right? They still haven't approved that.
Not yet. I don't think.
So technically, yes, this could happen.
He'd have to bail on the Fox thing too.
Right. I don't think it's happening.
No, I don't think it's happening. But like, if I'm Davante, I mean, it's an interesting pitch.
I mean, the other half of this too, though, is Davante's right. That's what Brady has said, that he is better than half the quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, he is.
Exactly half, but he's better than at least 2/3 of them, or a third of them, I would say. A third is a safe bet, I would say. But I mean, yeah, the Raiders, we made fun of them. Like, they pulled a Ron. They thought they were going to get their quarterback, and they didn't. And they missed out on trades, free agency, and the draft. And so they need somebody else there. I think we both look at that roster and go, if you drop a quarterback in there, they're at least a 500 team, probably, bare minimum. But with the quarterbacks they have right now, I mean, we both know it's not going to happen. So I just think I wouldn't put too much stock into Adam saying this, mainly because he's right. And who wouldn't want to play with the greatest quarterback of all time?
I know.
I think that's just what we're getting at.
I mean, I appreciate the honesty. I'm glad we can have a level conversation. We can have a level conversation with him. So if you're like, do you want to play with Aaron Rodgers again? He goes, yes. Like,
sure.
Of course you do. Like, right. Great. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate your professionalism. Would you like to play with Tom Brady? Yes, I would. Now, do his quarterbacks, are they pissed? Maybe, but they need him more than he needs them. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like, yeah, he's walking into this going, I know what the score is here. Like it's like he's just at least being honest. Like, it's not that I think Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell suck, or maybe I do. You figure it out. But but what I do know, is we could do better. I could do better. We could all do better. And so on that level, I'm kind of like, maybe you should stop talking, because it's not. Like, you're almost being too honest about your situation that's there. But I don't know. I appreciate the honesty, I guess. I appreciate the honesty with him.
I think that's been the best part about him kind of making the quote unquote news the last couple of weeks. Is all it is him answering the questions, which is what all we want these players to do. And they haven't been outlandish answers either. No. Like, he didn't actually go out and say either, oh, well, he's better than the two quarterbacks we have on this team. Like, he didn't say it like that, which I think is important, because Ayuk would say that, right? Or something like that. I think more outlandish players would happily throw their guys under the bus, and he's not doing that. Yeah. So I'll respect him out of that.
All right. The other thing that's going on is, we're here now. So Bill Belichick is officially a TV star for a year. I think Saban's here to stay doing this. I think Belichick will go back into coaching the second someone gives him the job. One, because I just get the sense that he would. Two, it's being reported that way. And three, he's just too close to the all-time wins record to not go back and coach somebody along the way. And I do believe after this season that somebody will hire him. I don't know who it's going to be. And all the reporting is that they are he is locked into getting to know the other teams around the league again, circling back and getting another job next year. And I'm pretty convinced he will. So who do you think he likes? Who do you think he's watching right now? Because this is one of those, he's hovering over the Giants. He's hovering over the Cowboys. He's hovering over, I don't think the Eagles, but If Sirianni gets booted like we were talking about last week, I don't know. So who do you think it is? Who's he looking at and he's going, that one's ripe for the picking?
You stole my thunder because I was just going to say NFC East. I think he is. But I also am just going to expand that answer to say all of the East teams. You look at Buffalo, you look at New York, you look at Miami, all three of them all have coaches that could be fired by the end of the year with a bunch of talent. And he was forced out by Kraft. And you know how Belichick gets. He loves to hold a grudge. And I don't think he would love anything more than to take one of those three teams and put them up against the Patriots 2 times a year. Like, I
Jets.
think that would be
Jets.
I mean, it would be ridiculous. And
I
it would
don't
be
think the
amazing all at
Bills
same
would
time.
do it. I thought about the Bills. I don't think they would do it because they kind of vanquished him. So do they need to bring him in to finish the job? Like, there's something that doesn't feel right about that.
You ever seen Star Wars, bro? I mean, this is Star Wars, man. You bring in the Sith to, get Anakin over to the dark side,
Like,
man. I'm just saying.
If the Dolphins have a bad year and their owner gets rid of this coach, which I think would be a bad idea. But if they did do that, okay, maybe. But the Jets scream it. Like, just totally scream it. And if there was ever a way to remotivate yourself, it's go with the team that doesn't ever win and go beat them and win with Rodgers. And I think it would energize Rodgers for another year or two. He's got to change. I mean, he's only probably doing this for a couple more years anyway. Rodgers would only be doing it for a couple more years anyway. The Jets scream it. Like, if they don't get something done, that it would be them that would be open to probably doing something like this. And, the GM would probably lose his job over it because Belichick wants all the power. But I have a funny feeling like Woody Johnson with Rodgers there would just be like, we've got to win. If it doesn't go well for them, we've got to win and I'm going to do it.
It wouldn't surprise me with the Jets. I also think, though, with the Bills, just to go back to them for a second, they don't have a Super Bowl. They've never had one. They finally have their franchise quarterback. They're going to look at any way possible to get them over the hump. I think you discount the desperation of Buffalo trying to win.
Maybe. What about the
saying.
Jaguars?
The Jaguars. I don't think he's coaching in Jacksonville.
Why not? He was about to coach in Atlanta.
So.
He was just he was trying to get the Atlanta job. Like, he's got Trevor Lawrence.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
No.
I just think he'd rather coach for literally 6 other teams that could possibly have their coaches on the hot seat. That's all. I don't think it's his 5th or 6th choice. Let me just put it that way.
Would Jerry do it? I don't know. So that's Dallas. That's interesting. He would love to do the Giants. I think the Mara family would love to have him back. If this thing and Hard Knocks is not a good indication of how things are going up there, like if that skids off and the Maras go, I don't like the plan here, they might go to Belichick. Now, does he have a team he can win with there right now? I don't know. Like, that's an interesting question. With Dallas, he's got one if they went that direction. And the other one, like I thought about, is Chicago. Like, if that goes not really well, year one, like their roster's a lot better than it was. I don't no offense to the coach, but I'm not sure it's the right time to keep him. I thought they should have kind of changed and gone year one, Caleb and someone else, and go off to the races together, but they didn't. So this coach who's kind of hung on to his job for a couple of years, if this doesn't go well in year one, their ownership might go, we got a shot to get this great coach with this number 1 pick quarterback, go do it. And that might be attractive. So I think like Jets, I think I agree. He would love to stick it to Kraft. So Jets or Bills, if that actually happened, but I'd be more inclined to think the Jets would do it over the Bills. The Bears are a long shot to me, maybe. The Jaguars are, and potentially the Giants if things don't go well. That's like the order for me.
On the Bears front, you would have to get Caleb's approval. I'm just saying, because he runs that team at this point.
That's right.
So would Caleb actually want Bill in there too? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, That's an interesting one. Would they actually ask Caleb if he would play for Bill Belichick? And what if he said no to that? That would be like,
I mean,
really?
crazier things have happened.
I don't know. Have you watched the NFL the last 20 years? So, all right, let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. Bram, why don't you show us because 6:30 Sports Capital. Did you watch the United States team the other day play South Sudan?
No, I did not.
So I did. Like, I mean, I wasn't planning on it, and there really wasn't much else going on. But when I saw the halftime score and they were down double digits, I'm like, huh, maybe I should check that out. And that game was not, to me, a very, some people are painting it like, what a great program they're building there. And I'm looking at it going, are we not that good? Because like they kept naming the players that are on the team there, and all of them are like, you know, they wouldn't be at this point if they didn't have like kind of a professional program going, but they're like, the guy with the most NBA experience, and they kept mentioning it was a former teammate of LeBron's with the Lakers, was a guy I don't remember who like barely played. And this isn't good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know it's an exhibition and all, but we're like, it wasn't like we weren't playing Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Devin Booker at the same time and barely winning. Barely winning.
I mean, you got to understand, Bram. It's the NBA, you know, or these are NBA players. The real season hasn't started yet. It's okay. This is just, how it goes. This is November 14th, week 1 of the season, and nothing is serious yet. We haven't hit the the Christmas Day games yet.
Now,
so it's okay. Like, no panic yet.
I guess, but you know what? The Christmas Day game's tomorrow, so hit the gas, boys.
Saying, they know how to turn it on. They turn it on in the real season.
I didn't see. They had one against, it was either Australia or someone like that, like a few days ago, and people were like, they didn't look that great. And then when I saw that score, you know, they were 43-point underdogs or 43-point favorites, 43-point favorites. And I'm like, which is a ridiculous line to put on an exhibition game, but that's what it was. And when I saw the score at halftime, I went, I think I'm going to turn this on. I'm like, I think I want to watch this. And they hit the gas and took the lead, and they were up, I don't know, 7 or so with like a minute left and blew it, that lead. South Sudan had the ball with the final possession to win. LeBron, I will say this, the one thing that was actually really promising was LeBron in the second half was awesome. And I mean, like, seriously awesome. Not just like scoring points, but like the on display passing and like step ahead type stuff on offense with the ball. He was by far not close their best player. And that was actually really reassuring to see that he was locked into an exhibition game and kind of carrying them. Tatum looked lost. Booker looked lost. Curry did hit some 3 from the logo, which was ridiculous, like totally ridiculous. Like caught some loose ball and just chucked it up from like 50 feet and hit it. That was ridiculous. LeBron was locked in. AD was locked into it. It's so funny. The two guys who take all this heat, they were the most locked in people of this.
Right.
Well,
no,
anyway.
I mean, look, like I said, they know how to turn it on here. The problem with Olympic basketball too, and we've seen this in the past, is where some of these guys don't actually know how to go with the flow of the game of like, okay, if it's not me, it's going to be someone else. And then when it's not me, I should be playing hard in all other aspects of the game. There's a lot of standing around. I just think they're trying to figure that out a little bit right now.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
As much as I get on LeBron, he was great like really, really, really great the other day. All right, let's see. Orioles and Nats are both off today. Orioles won 2 of 3 in Texas. Nationals got a sweep. How about the Nationals out of the All-Star break? Ooh, look at them.
Your boy James Wood, 3-run homer to put them up and win yesterday. You are the one that laments, oh, where's their superstar?
Okay.
I don't know. Wood looks like he's the truth. So
good.
I'm just pointing that out.
And you went to see Carly Rae Jepsen there the other night.
Yeah,
after
Friday night, man. Yeah. Yep.
She's good.
Top 10 for me. I have no problem saying that.
Really?
Top 10.
She's that good?
Top 10 pop
Do
artist,
I know
man.
any of her other songs besides Call Me Maybe?
Probably not, and that's a shame because she's that good, but she's not marketed that way, and so she's very much a just if you know, you know.
All right.
And I have to give the Nats and her credit. The Nats, I don't know if you saw on Friday, were up 8-1 heading into the ninth inning, so they were getting ready for this show. The Nats had to bring in like 3 relievers because the Reds scored 4 runs and had to bring in Kyle Finnegan. It went from a complete nothing burger of a game to having to actually bring in 3 different relievers. The ninth inning took like 40 minutes, and I give the Nats credit. They threw a stage out there. She played 15 songs in like 50 minutes. It was great. So good on all the games out people in the Nats.
I should have talked about this more today. I don't. So I'll give you 30 seconds. What did you think of Olivia Rodrigo? Because I'll give you my quick. I thought she's an incredible performer. We were both at her concert at Cap One over the weekend. She's an she's a force. Like, she was awesome. Her catalog's good. I love that she basically finished the show with like 4 of her banger songs, because she went like the middle. She played all the slower stuff. She is a hell of a performer. She was that was outstanding. She was great.
As you know, I go to a million concerts, and I had really high hopes for this one, but I also went into it going, this girl is 21 years old. How great is her stage presence going to be? How great is the set piece going to be? And it blew all of my expectations out of the water. You didn't even mention the part where she got on a crescent moon that was on a track that was hanging from the rafters for 2 songs. She was ridiculous. I've never seen a stage presence for someone that young have it down pat as well as she did too. Like, I've seen multiple bands a lot of times. I saw the Killers a couple times years and years ago, and they improved on their stage presence, but I don't know how she gets any better, and that's kind of really exciting to me. But great show. Very impressed. Impressed is the word.
No, she was awesome. All right. You have a good rest of the week off. I'll talk to you next week. Brainwatch is always fan 630 Sports Capital.